Is the stock market crash right around the corner as we see Chinese stocks rocketing to the moon? And Michael Burry has bet half his portfolio on Chinese stocks, and this one stock in particular. We look at how the indices fared across the board today. The Dow was down 184 points. The NASDAQ was down 6.65 points. S&P 500 down 9.6. The Russell 2000 down 1.49. Now, when we look at advancing issues versus declining, overwhelmingly, it was bearish on the day. 72.1% of stocks were declining on the day. When we come over and look at the sectors leading the board, energy by far outpacing every other sector. And the big loser of the day was essentially basic materials. Now, when we scroll down, we look at the 1 week performance. We can also see energy is outpacing anything else. And I'm going to share with you guys something real quick. Now, when we look right here, this is something we want to pay attention to. Oil shocks, how OPEC Plus could soften the blow if the Middle East conflicts hit supply. Now, we know that the tensions between Iran and Israel are causing, turmoil over in the Middle East, causing oil prices to shoot up higher. When we look at a chart of crude oil, this is a ABC pattern that we've been talking about for several days at this point. We're almost at the completion point at 74.28. Notice today it was up 5.59%. Now, this is going to be very important because when we dive down and we look at this on an intraday chart, I want you guys to pay very close attention. We have this big widespread candle right up in here, and that candle comes in around 10:10 this morning. Now, if you look at that same time period out here on the S&P 500, notice that's exactly when the S&P had its first downdraft out there this morning, and it wasn't just the S&P 500. You can see that same pattern taking hold in the NASDAQ as well. So one thing we want to be very vigilant on as we are waiting to see what Israel's response is going to be is anytime we see a downdraft in the market and we're wondering, has Israel went ahead on the offensive? One thing we want to look at, just simply look at a chart of crude oil. Crude oil is rocketing along with gold because we saw gold today also getting lifted up as well. When you look at gold right around that same time period, that's when gold put the low in the day and continued to trend up higher. We look at gold on the daily chart. What do? We basically have a hammer candle, but for all intents and purposes, we are doing nothing more than consolidating right around these price points. The whole talk around 10:10 this morning, that was all about this right here. When Biden says he's discussing Israel strikes on Iran's refineries, a big shock hasn't been priced in yet. Now, maybe it has, maybe it hasn't, right? We don't know. And today during the live stream, we were discussing this quite a bit. And that is the fact that when you look at the volatility index, we see the VIX today was up 7.62%. And we were discussing this within the live stream. And maybe one of the reasons we haven't seen this waterfall effect to the downside was simply put, maybe a lot of traders or investors are already hedged for the risk to come. We've already known there's been conflict over in the Middle East. So if indeed Israel goes on the offensive, is it going to be a quick blip? And then boom, a return back into normal. Now, when we look at the fear and greed index today, we see we're sitting at 67. And the most recent investor sentiment survey came in at 45.5 on the bull side. But notice we did see the bears creep up a little bit along with the uncertainty as well. Now, when we come over and look at what Michael Burry is invested in, and right here, this article says, Michael Burry bet half his portfolio on Chinese stocks and it's starting to pay off. And if you come over and look at the HSI real quick, the Hang Seng Index, this thing has been one heck of a rocket ship on the way up. If we go ahead and we measure from the low all the way up to the high of this candle in 13 candles, the HSI was up almost 34% for an index that is massive. Now we have basically a hanging man candle. It's the weakest of all reversal patterns, but still it's something we need to pay attention to. If the low of that candle gets taken out, watch out, we are likely going to go substantially lower. Then when we look at the one stock that Michael Burry is putting a lot of faith in as well, and that is going to be Alibaba. And Alibaba has had quite the move up as well. And with China talking about stimulus and trying to stimulate their economy, we can see Alibaba has been on one heck of a tear on the way up as well. However, yesterday we saw Alibaba close with basically a doji, a long-legged doji up here near the highs. And we're going to see, is this all she wrote? Are they about to start pulling back down? Or is China going to actually be able to pull through and actually save their economy? We come over and look at the dollar index today. Dollar index almost coming up towards our structure breakdown point of 102.144. We've been talking about this area for quite some time, really all the way back over in this area. I thought we were going to hit it there. We didn't hit it. Now we've come very close and we've had 4 consecutive days on the way up. Now, when we look at some of the high flyers, NVIDIA was able to close green today, up $3.97. However, stocks like Tesla still suffering quite a bit. Tesla is still pulling back, and we're going to see, will Tesla make it all the way down here, potentially filling the gap at 227.34? And we look at Apple, kind of a candle of indecision. See, small body, wick on the top, wick on the bottom on the 5-minute chart. You can see at the very end of the day, they started buying it up. Now, one of the reasons that maybe people are starting to buy it up, maybe they've already priced in the whole Israel-Iran. Now I want to make everybody aware, Apex having an 80% sale off all their evaluation accounts, pass in as little as 1 day, $35 reset fees, and even better, $85 activation fee across all account sizes once you pass. If you want to take advantage of this offer, use the link in the description box down below. Use promo code Mike at checkout. Or maybe it's going to be the fact of what is in store for tomorrow. Tomorrow, 8:30 a.m., we have the average hourly earnings. We have the non-farm employment change. We have the unemployment rate. Then at 9 a.m., we have FOMC member Williams speaking. So is the jobs numbers going to come out good, or is it going to show a weakening of the labor market, letting the Fed go ahead and aggressively go ahead with their rate cutting campaign? Now, when we look at the Qs today, we can see the Qs were down 36 cents. Now, we did close higher than where we were open, but notice MACD indicator is trying to roll over. We're spending a lot of time right around this high volume area on the composite profile. 4-hour chart, MACD indicator trying to make us down towards the zero line, almost there, not quite at that level yet. Then on the 1-hour chart, we're just basing out on the MACD indicator down at these lower levels. And you can really see the consolidation that has been built out here on the 30-minute chart. Here's a level that we drew out this morning. Now, we did not make it down towards that level. We were able to get above yesterday's high. Boom. They smacked it right back down. If I look at today's volume profile shape, it's more of a B as in boy, or lowercase b. Now, one of the areas I want to focus on, especially with tomorrow's economic news coming out, is going to be this zone right up in here. This is going to be a minus development area. We talk about it all the time during the live stream. If you want to make sure you don't miss the next live stream, make sure you're subscribed and you have the bell notifications turned on for all. But the bottom of that zone is going to be about 483.60. The upper part is going to be 483.91. Now, if we can get above value area high, that's going to open the door for a potential push up towards that area. Now, does it guarantee we're going to get there? Absolutely not. It's just something we do want to focus on. This will be a target location of mine if we can breach value area high. Now, let's say Israel goes on the attack tonight and we start breaking value area low, and then we come back up. If we get back above value area low, then I would want to target the point of control, value area high, this level right up in here. Then anything above that price point, then the bears are really in jeopardy of losing all the work that they've done to the downside and really recapturing that first down day that we had a few days back. Now, when we come over and we look at the futures markets real quick, notice this is the area we've been talking about during the live stream. If this level gives way, we have three additional targets. One's going to be this high volume distribution node on the profile at about 19,789. The next one would be this minus development area at about 19,738. Then we come all the way down here towards the point of control, 19,664. Now, this is an untested point of control, so it gives it a little bit more a little bit more of a attraction for price to make it back down towards that price point. As we come over and we look at the daily profiles real quick, notice for the last couple days, we've done nothing more than consolidate down at these lower levels. This is all calls being built. Is it calls to go higher, or is it calls to go lower? We're going to find that out very soon. And we look at the volume profile levels. Notice today, value area low is at 19,910.25. We have the point of control at 19,960.75. And we have value area high up here at about 20,004.25. If we can breach above that price point, we do have a minus development area that was formed out here today. I'm going to go ahead and mark that off on the chart. And that's going to be right up in this zone. Now, the lower portion of that zone is going to be 20,072.5 all the way up here to about 20,088. So make sure you have those levels marked off on your chart. Now, when we come over and look at the SPY real quick, notice we get a candle of indecision, a wick on the top, wick on the bottom, and we've basically come into this area and we're really having a hard time pushing up and out or pushing down and out. We do have a gap that still needs to be filled down here about 561.53, along with a high volume node on that profile as well. However, the market doesn't care at this point. It's just sitting there hovering at these upper levels. We see the MACD indicator does have a bearish cross. That is a fresh cross. Now we come over and we look at the 4-hour chart, MACD indicator making its way down towards the zero line. Now keep in mind, if we hover up here at these upper levels, MACD indicator gets towards the zero line, watch out, that could be nothing more than a recharge point for another leg higher. 1-hour chart, you can see we're basically flatlined out here below the zero line. Then on the 30-minute chart, you can see this area that we drew out this morning, this minus development area. We were able to come back and re-auction that area. And I'm going to go ahead and remove that zone at this time. notice we were closing right near value area high. So tomorrow morning, we're trading above it. Well, guess what? We still have a minus development area all the way up here at about 571.23, which could act as a magnet drawing price into it. That minus development area is quite wide. It goes all the way up to 573.40. First time we come up into it, expect a consolidation or maybe a little knee jerk back down. Second or third time, then I expect it to push through that zone. Now, as we come over and look at the futures markets real quick, you can see we've had to push down. We spent a lot of time consolidating down here at these areas. We still do have an untested point of control down here at 56.97 and 3/4. We're not there yet, unfortunately. Then we look out here on the daily profiles. Notice we are closing very close to value area high at 5754.00. We have the point of control down here at 5741.50, and we have value area low coming in at 5736.00. Now, if we can break above value area high, this is going to be one of the targets I will want to focus on tonight. So we'll see if that comes to fruition during tonight's live stream. But that zone right above us is going to be somewhere in the ballpark of 57.62 up here to about 57.65 or so. Anything above that, then I'm going to be watching for this minus development area right up in here to potentially come back and get tested. We do have the news catalyst. We need to just make sure that, Israel stays at bay, or at least it's not as bad as what some people may fear. Then I think we have a shot of running up here towards about 57.87.5. Now, if you guys would like to learn how to set up Quant Tower for fast track trading, make sure to watch this video right here.